So when I started writing my story, I believe it was, we were still using hieroglyphics. But to be honest with you, I'm a graduate of the program. I graduated back in 2017, and I held the title of being the oldest graduate at Teen Challenge for many, many years until about 2 years ago, we had a gentleman who graduated at the age of 70. And then we had another fellow, so it's never too late. Never too late to make a change. Never too late to kind of open up and accept Christ into your heart. So I believe this is the first time that we've been here speaking, right, Pastor Rob? Or yeah, okay. So I've been with Teen Challenge almost 10 years now, and I remember the area, but I don't remember this particular church. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and from Teen Challenge for having us. And as Pastor Rob said, please listen with your ears, but also listen with your hearts to the stories of the men that I've brought with me today. And also, I'm going to share a little bit about my story and what happened to me in my life. I've got a presentation. I've got some PowerPoint slides that I'm going to kind of go through, talk about the program a little bit. I'm going to introduce the guys one at a time to come up and speak. I've also got, in closing, I have a small little sermonette that I was asked to write many, many years ago to provide a small word. And I think when I kind of tie it into Teen Challenge and our ministry, who we are, it's all about hope. Because honestly, so many times the fellows and the women that actually come into program at that stage in their life, they don't have any hope anymore. And so I put together a small little sermonette on hope. And then also being a graduate, coming into the program at the age of 66, it was not easy at all. And I was fighting and rejecting, and it was a real battle for me. And I didn't realize, I have a daughter, her name is Faith Esther. She was instrumental in bringing me into this program and getting me here, and the change that took place. And when she brought me to the program, I'm going to share something with you at the very, very end. She gave me this little black book. It's called a journal. She said, Papa, she said, write your thoughts and your feelings in this journal so that we can share it later. I was very angry with her for pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks after I got into the program, I picked up the journal and I was prepared to put some words to the pages. And I opened it up, and inside she had written me a letter. And it was a letter of love to her father from a daughter. And I always share that with you because it's such a beautiful letter of encouragement and love and hope. So having said that, Ashley, I know I talk. Oh, I can't see in front of me. Where we are. Okay, so we're going to start with the overview. So I'm going to gab a little bit here. I've probably done well over 100 of these, and I love doing them. I love coming out. I love meeting the different congregation members, the pastors, and just the different feels for the, different denominations. This is Baptist, right?
Pentecostal.
Sorry?
Pentecostal.
Oh, it is? I thought I heard Pentecostal there. Why were you talking? I thought I heard you say something about Baptist.
I'll explain later.
Okay. So yeah, I kind of when I came to Christ many years ago. My church was a Pentecostal church. It was Glad Tidings Church in Burlington. And I was there with Pastor David Tapley. You probably have heard of him. Anyways, he was my pastor for many years. But getting on with the presentation. So what you see in front of you is basically we're going to learn about addiction in Canada. But I wanted to start off as we as Christians understand that there is a whole world around us that we can actually make a difference in. We know that Jesus came to seek the lost and to bind the brokenhearted. And he calls us to do the exact same thing. There's a great need for this ministry of Teen Challenge. And I also firmly believe that we are called to serve. Our desire is to help as many people as we can and that's possible to find freedom in sobriety, but ultimately freedom in Jesus Christ, our Lord. Today I want to talk about addiction and the need for help with addiction, both locally and all across the country. You're going to hear stories from the guys that I brought today, Nathaniel and Daniel, who made a very difficult but a very brave choice, and that was to face their past and also to do a very, very difficult thing, and that's putting a lot of effort and a lot of hard work into recovery. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not. Thank you. And I think it's virtually important for us as a ministry to be there, to make ourselves available to help all of those that need our help. So next slide, please, Ashley. So a little bit about the program. So when men and women come into the program, they start to stabilize as they start to detox both their minds, their bodies, and also their spirits and their souls. So we've got some really great addictions counselors. They're certified, they're accredited, that work with each particular student, and they create an individual plan for them to help them work through the emotions, the trauma, the stress, the ordeal that they've been through, in a lot of cases, almost all of their lives. And throughout that year, the students start to learn more about themselves, but I think most importantly, and that makes us different, is they don't learn the Word of God through the program. They start to learn healthy routines and practical life skills that are going to be able to be transferred to a successful lifestyle when they actually leave the program, sober living. We also provide aftercare resources, so an individual, if they don't feel comfortable enough at the end of the 12 months, we're not there to push them out the door. We can say, hey, listen, if you want to stay another 6 months to continue on, this is called a Phase 4 program. They can stay an additional 6 months. If they don't feel comfortable after that time, they can stay another 6 months. So we can actually give them up to 2 years to stay with us. I don't think there's a lot of other facilities out there that provide that kind of care and support. So what I wanted to do is, I've been talking a little bit. What I'd like to do is I know we're all here to hear the stories. So I'd like to have Nathaniel come up and share a little bit, a chapter in his life, or maybe two.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having us this morning. You guys have like a beautiful church family here, and I do feel just like a very homey presence, and it's really awesome. So thank you guys for having us. It's so awesome. I guess I'll start. I grew up in church as well. My family grew up in Toronto, Pentecostal church as well, and so I remember asking my mom, how do I know I'm saved, and how do I know I'm going to heaven? And she's like, well, she brought me through the prayer and accepted Jesus into my heart as a young child. And so I was always saved, and I think I always had a relationship with God from a young age. And growing up, I think that was just kind of my life, you know what I mean? And so talking about your story, I would look at other people and hear other people's stories, very dramatic, and even my parents, how they came to faith, and it was more drastic, I'd say. So for me, I was just kind of always a Christian, and that was my life. But growing up in family and even going through school and going through puberty and the internet and high school, and these things start to kind of creep in, and things of the world can start to creep in. And if you're not paying attention, I started to get involved with things, especially firstly on the computer. I noticed was where the area was for me to start hiding from my family and start doing things that I know I'm not supposed to be doing. And my relationship with God is okay, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Please forgive me, but I'm hiding and I'm lying and I'm fighting with temptation, and I'm not really sure how to have an open relationship with my parents or with God. And so it became more strained that way. And then in high school, getting introduced to alcohol for sure, and marijuana as well, partying and things like this. It just became a double life. So going to church on Sunday and having a Christian life, but then also not really giving into temptation and wanting to be accepted and trying to socialize, trying to deal with loneliness and anger and sadness in these ways that aren't healthy. And I think, like we were kind of talking about this on the way here, we all go through pain and different experiences and traumatic experiences, and we need to deal with them, but we don't really know how to deal with them properly or how to manage them properly. And so I just learned to manage and deal with pain with negative coping mechanisms for sure, that weren't healthy. So finishing high school, I went to Bible college, and I found that my relationship with God was getting stronger. I was studying worship music as well. I'm a musician, and I love worship and music, and you guys did awesome this morning, so thank you for leading us. And I felt that this was my calling now, to work in church and to do worship music and to be in the church and work in the church and work in ministry. So that program was really awesome, and I learned a lot, and I felt that my relationship with God went to a next level, but still I hadn't fully put away like a lot of the things that I was doing still in the background with smoking and drinking and watching pornography and things like this were kind of there, and I was still struggling. And so after finishing college, I got hired at a church doing worship pastor there. And so it was awesome, and I loved it, and the church was amazing. But yeah, still like living this double life in the background and going and worshiping on Sunday and leading the band and being part of the family, but still on the side, where I was living, there's people that were partying. I'm with friends with them, I'm hanging out with them, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, I'm doing everything. Eventually that double life catches up with you. You can't maintain that and sustain that. And so I started missing services. I started coming to church high. I was coming to church drunk and leading under the influence. And my pastor's starting to ask me, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? He's having conversations with me. And I'm lying and I'm hiding what I've been practicing all my life of just lying and hiding and lying and hiding. So eventually I got let go from the church. And that was a really serious, I think, blow for me, where I really felt like I think a failure, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, this was supposed to be my calling. This was supposed to be what I was doing with my life. And I've let God down. I've let everyone down. I was too ashamed to go back to the church. They asked me to still be part of the church and still, you're still welcome here. But I was too ashamed to talk about things like how I'm talking to you now and just being open and transparent about things. And that's the key, I think, telling our story, telling our testimony, being open, getting support from the people around us that care, like our family, our church family. To be able to deal with these things in a healthy way. I turned away from the church and I walked away from the church, and in a way I felt like, oh, well, I'm kind of free now from having to put on this facade every Sunday of like I'm living this Christian life during the week, which I'm not. Now I'll just live a worldly life, and I'll just go to work and work at whatever job, and I can drink and smoke, and I still believe in you, God, but I'm not like at the church, so I'm free in the sense. And really it was a deception, because I was walking more and more into bondage. And the more and more I was becoming a slave to my evil desires, I realized. And it says that in the Bible too. We're thinking that we're free, but we're actually becoming a slave to our evil desires. And I'm controlled by what I want. And my family went through a really hard time at that time as well, and we're separated. And so I think that affected me a lot at that same time, leaving the church and my family. I started drinking alcohol, and slowly it became more and more a part of my life, to where I was drinking every day, drinking in the morning, drinking all day. Eventually, years later, just constantly under the influence and getting into bad relationships. You know what I mean? Not healthy relationships at all, separating myself from my family, isolating myself even more, to the point where I was working downtown in Toronto with the Toronto District School Board. I was doing custodial work there, and that was a really good job. But again, losing that job because of alcoholism. And that's where I kind of realized now, okay, I need to make a change. And my girlfriend actually was at the time, and my family was like, okay, like, where are you going now? It's been like almost 10 years, and you're kind of just been drifting and working, and you can see the downward progression. Again, it catches up with you over time. You know what I mean? Like a lifestyle that you're living. And so they started showing me, like, I didn't think I really had an issue, because I was like, well, I was still working, I'm still functioning, I'm still, living life. But they're showing me, okay, well, like, you lost your job. Like, I tried to go back to university again for worship music. I got kicked out. My family, I started arguing with my family. I was becoming violent when I was drinking at home. They didn't want me at home. My relationships were strained. They're showing me this checklist of, okay, alcohol is taking over your life. Like, it's the first thing you think about in the morning. It's the first thing that you're doing. Going to get a drink and drinking all day and blacking out. And so that's when I kind of saw, okay, I have an issue and accepted. I tried going to AA. Teen Challenge did come up initially, but we were like, a year, that's long. That's too long. I'm not going to go for a whole year. I want to work and go to school. I can do this on my own kind of thing. So we kind of didn't take it seriously. And I tried for a year. I was sober for like a little bit, weeks here, weeks there, and I'd relapse. And then eventually we applied for Teen Challenge in April of 2024, last year. And I got in October of last year. And so I'm in my 10th month now, about to finish my 10th month of the program. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And it's been amazing, honestly. Growing up in church and like hearing the stories of freedom that people experience, and freedom from bondage, and freedom from sin, and freedom from evil desires, and this victory that we're talking about. And now, again, going to Teen Challenge, on my first stage, is really committing myself to saying, hey, God, like, I can't live this way anymore. I don't want to live this way anymore. I already have a relationship with you, but I want to be real with you now. Like, my whole life, I've known you, but I haven't been real with you. I haven't been real with the people around me. And I want to be real with you. I want to be transparent. I want to be able to sing really to you and worship and not be feeling like I'm living a double life. And so just committing myself to really living in this way, reading the word, prayer. And God's been changing me. He's changed me drastically. Just going through that experience, I think, and then being able to look back and see like, oh, wow, like even through all of that, God, you still loved me. You're still faithful to me. It really helped me to see God's love for me and his faithfulness, and say, okay, like I can be open with you. I can be transparent with you, and you love me unconditionally. And so I'm just open with you now. Like, you see, if I'm struggling with something, I want to talk to you about it. I need your help. I need your strength. And he's just been faithful every single day and been opening his word up to me. And it's just been seriously life-changing. I know it sounds, and I used to, again, hear it all the time, but it's so cliche, but it's so true. The freedom that you experience, just being able to have a relationship with God, being able to be in community with these guys, being a good community of people, again, that are uplifting, being able to come to all the different churches and be part of the body of Christ and be encouraged by you guys, and have real freedom from desires too, and God like making us a new creation and not desiring these things over time, learning how to walk with him and not desiring alcohol, not desiring weed, not desiring lusting, and renewing my mind, really transforming my mind and not being conformed to the ways of the world. It's real, and it really does work. And the program's been a huge catalyst for that. But really, like they say in the program, it's not the program, but it's Jesus that really makes the change in us. And so I'm just really thankful for this program, to have the opportunity to come, and just really thankful to God for what he's done in my life and really changed me and put me on this new path again. Thank you guys all for having us today. Again, I hope it's encouraging to all of you. And yeah, love you guys, man. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Thank you, Nathan. It's not an easy thing to do, to kind of stand up here and be transparent and talk about your past. And that's why I say thank you so much for being able to share. It means an awful lot. And in a lot of cases, there's going to be, and I hope it's a message that is sent out there, that it's okay. It's okay to be transparent. It's okay to hurt, and it's okay to tell people that I hurt, and it's okay to ask for help. And in a lot of cases, people just won't do that. Next slide, please, Ashley. So Teen Challenge, what makes us distinctive and what makes us different? And I think there's two main distinctives. I think the first is that we are Christian and that we believe that we cannot have a full, productive life without having that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And our second distinctive, and I think I talked about it a little bit before, that distinctive is the staff that work at Teen Challenge. They are so compassionate and empathetic and understanding and supportive of the men and the women that come into the program, and I think that's key. But I think one of the other things is, and that's a key. We're there for them. We're there to, as I said, support them, to help them overcome their obstacles, to help them face the realities of life, and to watch them develop and watch them to grow, especially in their faith and their walk with Christ. And in the hope, and that key word hope again, of restoration. One, restoration with themselves, with their families, with God, but also I also believe in freedom from addiction. I think one of the favorite statistics that we have at Teen Challenge that we talk about all the time, I'm gonna mention it here. I think we're pretty close to 30% of all the staff that work across Canada are actual graduates of the program. So I graduated in 2017. They gave me an opportunity to stay on an additional 6 months, which I did. And then they said, you know, Larry, you seem to have a bit of a gift of the gab. Would you like to work in our call center? And I said, yeah, I would love to do that. So I stayed on for an additional year, and I worked in the call center. So my job was basically calling Pastor Rob or Pastor, and basically, you know what, Pastor, it's been a couple of years. Thank you so much for the support that and the love that your church, shows us. But it's been 2 years. I think you need to have one of our teams come out. So I did that for about 2 or 3 years. And then an opportunity came up in our intake department. And so I'm now the intake coordinator we have 5 men's centers across Canada. There's also 3 women's centers, which I'll talk about in a little bit later. But we basically are the front end. We're the 911 call that comes in. We're the outstretched hand that says, please, I need help. Not only just from the individuals, but it's the outstretched hand from the families. And, when individuals are in addiction, they don't realize or understand or see the domino effect that is taking on in life with their actions and the consequences of those actions with family. Next slide, Ashley. As I was saying, we have 8 centers across Canada right now. There's 5 men's centers. There's a center in Renfrew. We are running at a very low capacity there. It is a 20-bed facility, but unfortunately right now it's difficult to get quality staff to come in, so we're kind of in a hiring process for that facility. We have a brand new building being built in London. We're very, very proud of it. You can see this is an older building that we're currently in with dormitories. The new building will have rooms. I think initially there'll be 4 to a room, and then it drops down to 2 to a room. So a totally different environment. So we're very, very happy about that. We also have a center in Moncton. Men's center in Moncton, and then out west we have 2 centers. We have one in Saskatchewan, just outside of Saskatoon, and then there is another men's center just outside of Calgary. Women's center outside of Toronto, one in Newfoundland, a small center in Newfoundland, and then we have one called Prairie Hope out in Saskatchewan. Next slide, please. So who struggles? Everybody struggles. Addiction does not discriminate. Race, color, sex, creed, everybody is affected by it. Next slide. I think I am going to have Daniel come up and share a bit of his testimony with us. Thank you, brother.
Hello, my name is Daniel. I had a good childhood and grew up on a farm just outside of Elmer, Ontario, and it was cows. My parents took good care of our family and would take us to church twice a week, which was a URC church, United Reformed. In my teen years, I was a victim of bullying and I began to isolate. I became very anxious, depressed, and angry, and soon turned to drugs and alcohol, thinking that they could help me cope with my difficulties. Anxiety and depression carried on into my adult years, often keeping me awake at night. I frequently used drugs and alcohol just to help me get to sleep. Soon I reached the point where things were unmanageable. Addiction had a tight hold on me. My relationship with my family was suffering, and I began using drugs at work, and I was very troubled about my situation. I had entered into a serious relationship, but that too was falling apart. As I continued to use and could no longer support us, my girlfriend got fed up, and I was asked to leave our home. That was very difficult for me as we were having a child together. This was my rock bottom. I knew then that I needed to get serious and make a change. I called my uncle and asked if I could live with him if I promised to apply at Teen Challenge. He agreed, and I entered the program on February 19, 2025. When we drove through the gates at Teen Challenge, my depression and anxiety left immediately and never came back. I've been clean and sober for 5 months now, my longest stretch of sobriety since I was 13 years old. I'm currently learning to surrender my life to Him, and as I do, He is making me a better man. I hope to grow in the father that I know I can be. God is also working on my relationship with my ex-girlfriend, and I'm really happy to say that since she's seen what God is doing in my life at Teen Challenge, she has started going to church and trusting in Him. My relationship with Jesus means more to me now than it ever has. My sins are forgiven, and I do not have to do this life alone. God has revealed to me that as I follow Him, no matter how rough life gets, He will be with me through everything, because I am His child. I'm hoping that after my graduation from Teen Challenge, I will have the opportunity to stay on for Phase 4. After that, I plan to open a trucking company. My favorite Bible verse is Matthew 4, verse 19 to 20, which says, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." They immediately left their nets and followed Him. I can relate to those disciples who left their way of life behind to follow Jesus, leaving behind a life of addiction. I too am now free to make Jesus my priority and follow Him. I am grateful to you all for your support, and to the staff and volunteers at Teen Challenge, and to my family for always encouraging me. Thanks for listening.
So Daniel is going to provide us with a day in the life, what it's like to live in that big house.
So as you can imagine, there's 35 guys under the roof. There's always conflict here and there. We wake up 5 mornings a week at 6:30 in the morning to morning, wakey, wakey. It's your favorite time of the day. Then 15 minutes later, we hear, "This is your timekeeper, 15 minutes until devotions. Don't be late." Then at 7 a.m. to 7:30, we have devotions. And then from 7:45 to 8:15, we have breakfast. Then at 8:35 to 9:55, I go to PACE, which is digging deeper into the Bible. Then from 10:15 to 11:30, I am in a lecture, which is more, we have a volunteer that normally comes in and does a Bible study or something along those lines with us. From 11:30 to 1 o'clock is lunch break. Then from 1 to 4, I'm in work therapy, which is currently janitorial in the cafeteria. From 5 to 5:30, we have supper. And then Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, from usually 7 to 8, we have volunteers who come in and teach a class to us. Thursday is activity night, which we go outside and play sports or something along those lines. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night are movie nights. And then we have what we call Wacky Wednesday, because we have chapel from 9 to 10:15. And then we have a break for 15 minutes. And then at 10:30, most guys at the center go to PACE for an hour. Or the choir guys, which is me and Nathaniel and a bunch of others, we have work therapy, because Wednesday afternoons we have choir practice from 1 to 4. On Saturdays, we get up at 9 to 9:15. Devotions from 9:15 to 9:45. Then from 9:45 to 11, we have breakfast, brunch. And then we have a 20-minute chore that we have to do. And then the rest of the day is free until supper at 4. Sundays are different because I'm up at all different hours of the day for choir outreaches. So Sundays are never really the same. But the other guys, they get up at 8:30, and then they're on the bus for church at 9:30, which is 5 minutes down the road. And then they get back around 12, and then they have lunch at 12:15, and then it's a free afternoon until supper at 5. And then Sundays and Tuesday nights are cell phone nights, where we get our cell phone for an hour. So, yeah, that's the Life at Teen Challenge. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. It's very structured and it's disciplined. And when I say disciplined, I don't mean it's like, Navy SEAL camp. No, it's not disciplined that way. We do work on a demerit system. So for merit, you can earn merits by doing good things or a little extra, and things like that are noticed by staff. Other students can recommend that. Hey, listen, I saw somebody. He kind of went over and above helping out in the kitchen today. So we give a little merit ticket. You can accumulate them, and then you can trade them in. You can trade them in for a day off of discipline, believe it or not, which is the opposite. That's a demerit. We call it an actual seed. And so when the seeds accumulate, we kind of sit down with the client and we have a little talk about, what was going on. Why are you constantly late for devotions in the morning or those type of things? And so they're an encouragement to hopefully make a change. And so to help encourage you to remember to be on time, we're going to take your coffee privilege in the morning away for a week. So little things like that. And I'll tell you, it works. It works right away. But as I said, it is structured in the sense you're up early, you've got devotions. The day is split in half. Half of it is a work period. So as Daniel was saying, you could be assigned to work in the kitchen, cleaning, serving, preparing meals, that type of thing. But they move you around. It's not like you're going to be there for a whole year. Then they may move you to janitorial, and then from there to landscaping, and then from there to laundry. So you're constantly doing something. The key here, and this is what makes us different, we have a holistic approach to treatment. Mind, body, but most importantly, the spirit and the soul. So the counselors are going to work with you. They're going to work with the emotional, the psychological stuff that's going on, the trauma, all right? Now that you're not out on the street and you're not in that environment, you're in a safe place, you're eating well, all of our centers have an exercise gym, fresh air, sunshine. Your body's going to start healing and starting to feel better. But the difference is the educational component called PACE, Personal Accelerated Christian Education. And that's what Daniel was talking about. It's a classroom environment. You're in there 3 hours a day, and you are given assignments to work on. They're called contracts. There's 6 of them over the course of the year. You work at your own pace. All we ask is, just be open to hopefully developing a relationship, a stronger walk in your faith with God. That's all we ask. We come from the point of, even if we've set some seeds in the time that you're sitting in that classroom, that start to sprout and grow 2 years down the road, we've done our job, right? God has been planted in there. Next slide. So where am I? I'm almost at the end. Journey. So how do we raise funds for Teen Challenge? Well, you've had us come here. We thank you so much. With our outreaches, there are love offerings and whatever, but we've already worked our deal out with the church is supporting us. Thank you so much for that. We have gala events. We have golf tournaments that take place. The choir goes out and sings and provides testimonies at different churches. We have sponsors, which I'll talk about on the next slide, which is called The Journey. Has anybody ever sponsored a student at Teen Challenge at any other time? I don't think, maybe from out here. Sponsor? Yeah, are you a sponsor? Yeah, monthly, and that's what I was talking about. And I'll kind of combine the both actually. Ashley, I may as well move right to the next slide, which is called The Journey. We want you to look at these men are on a journey of life right now, life-changing journey, okay? And what we do is we ask that you would, if you feel led to participate in that journey, please come visit us back outside in the vestibule. We have a table there. It's a commitment. as a minimum of $10 if you feel led to provide more, but it is a monthly commitment. And it helps. It also allows you to communicate with the clients through letters of encouragement, little things like that, and find out how their progress is going. So that's basically my presentation for today. How am I doing on time right now? Am I good? So I can share my little sermonette. So I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the guys for having us here today and allowing us to share a little bit of our story. So let me get to a little. Okay. Hope. So what does it mean to have hope? So I believe that hope is a feeling of trust, and it's a sense of security and a reason to keep going on. But I also believe that it's a passionate desire of our heart. It's a feeling of expectation and a longing for a certain thing to happen. But do we use that word hope so often in our everyday lives that we really lost the true reality and meaning of that word? You know, I hope the kids clean up, and I hope it doesn't snow in Alberta tomorrow, and I hope that the Leafs will win the Stanley Cup finally this year. But kids are going to be kids, and it usually does snow up in the Rocky Mountains. And who knows about Toronto this year, right? But as a Christian, what does it mean to have hope? Psalm 71, verses 5 and 14 say, "For you have been my hope, my sovereign Lord, and you have been my confidence since my youth. But as for me, I will always have hope, and I will praise you more and more." The psalm goes on to say that God will never grow tired, nor will he ever grow weary of us, and that he will give us strength and power and the knowledge that we can always accomplish more with him than we can without him. For he is our hope. He's the only one who can answer our prayers and those desperate pleas of our heart. We cannot use the word hope without connecting it to our Father, for whilst we have breath, we have our Lord Jesus Christ. A Christian hope is grounded in the Word of God, and we know that God cannot lie. It is a hope that is like faith, a faith that cannot be moved by circumstances or by what our eyes see, because an unseen God is always seen in his faithfulness to us. So if you're a believer, you can rest assured that God's love is unfailing and that he will deliver us from the days of our calamity. For he has rescued the born-again believers from certain judgment, and he has promised us an eternal home with them. And instead of using ink, God signed our redemption with his most precious Son, Jesus' own blood. It's that shed blood that seals us and you and I permanently with God. For when our hope is in the Lord, not in ourselves, that's a rock-solid hope. So that was my little sermonette. Thanks. You know, had somebody told me 10, 15 years ago that I would be standing here doing this, I would have said, buy me another drink. Because, but a little bit of my story. As I mentioned, I went to a Pentecostal church for many, many years. I was married to a wonderful woman. And because of alcohol, everything was lost. And it turned my face away from the Lord. And I think that's what happens when you go astray. I reached a point where I woke up one morning. I was 66 years old. I was homeless. I had lost everything. I had nothing to my name. I walked into Teen Challenge in 2016. I remember it was February the 16th. I had a red suitcase with clothes in it, and that's all I owned in my entire life. That was all that I had left. But I thank God, and I look back now. It was the hardest year of my life, but it's one year I would never trade for anything in the world. I have a daughter. Her name is Faith Esther, and she was inspirational in getting me to come into this program. She didn't give up on me, just like we don't give up on these guys that are here, right? a lot of people do in life, but she didn't give up on her dad. And I was bitter. I was angry when I came in. I was in denial. I don't have a problem. What you guys are doing is you're abandoning your father. Let's just get rid of him. We don't got to worry about Pops for a year. Let's throw him in this place. And that's what happened. And I kept that inside of me, not knowing that when I did come into the program, she gave me this little black journal book. And as I said before, I just want to share it with you in closing. It'll take about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, but it's some words that she wrote to me that I carry inside of me, and I will to my dying day. So she says, "Dear Papa, I cannot even begin to explain how proud I am of you and this journey of transformation and hope that you are about to embark on. I am so proud that you have decided to pursue a journey of life and truth that will bring you to a place of wholeness once again. Yes, you're beginning the best part of your life, not with ease, but with courage and strength. You're starting the beginning of a new chapter, and you've come so far already just in the last few weeks, and I'm excited to see the life-changing transformation yet to come. Never forget that you are and have always been a man of strength. Do not ever lose sight of that one simple truth. The coming weeks may not be easy, but God will give you enough grace each day to carry you through to the next. Papa, please take one day at a time and know that your entire family at home are rooting for you and that we will be there to love you every single step of the way. Remember, with God in your life, nothing is impossible. I know that you can and that you will do this, and I promise the best days are still ahead of you. Take this journal to write down your thoughts, to process your feelings, and to vocalize your dreams. Use this journal to begin to dream of your life and to dream of the things that you want to do once again and to become the man that you once were. You're stepping into a precious moment of time, 1 year of your life that you will never get back. Take this time to rediscover yourself. Begin to love yourself once more, and please take time to heal. You deserve to be whole and healthy, and always know that you are worthy of love. I love you more than you will ever know, and you will always have me, no matter what, and I'm so excited to have you back once more. I've missed you for a long time. You're a man of greatness, meant for great things, and there's just so much treasure inside of you just waiting to be released. You are stronger than you think you are, and I know that you can do this 1 year." And that was her letter to me, and that encouraged me. So, yeah, if it hadn't been for her, God knows where I'd be right now. But again, I just wanted to say thank you. And please, if you're interested in sponsorship or just talking to us, come out and visit us out in the hallway there. We've got some material on that if you want to take with you. Pastor Rob, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause again.